Kids, we have been saying that CO2 is part of the Earth's history and evolution of climate, evolution of life, and we have been showing curves of CO2 from the past, decreasing during ice ages, increasing when the glaciers disappear, and so on. Now, where did all that data come from and when did we start? We talked about ice cores and we said as snow falls and compresses and forms glaciers, air bubbles get trapped and the air at that time carries the signatures in terms of oxygen, carbon dioxide, temperature signals, etc. So we can estimate past CO2s. But now we look at this continuous CO2 measurements routinely and we can say today, what is the global CO2 level? We can say it's 426 parts per million by volume. How do we know that? Since CO2 is inert and it's well mixed, we can measure it in one or two places away from the traffic and the factories and get a good sense of what the concentration is. When did it start? Well, there were some data from before the 1950s. Here and there, the methods were not consistent. They were not very accurate. We mentioned the paper by Guy Callender in the last podcast about how he used the data to talk about CO2 warming and how bad it is and where it's going, etc. But in the 1950s, Roger Abel and Dr. Seuss, another scientist, Seuss, actually figured out that CO2 was increasing in the atmosphere with a few measurements. Then Roger Revelle at the Scripps Institute of Oceanography found Charles David Keeling and he became the PhD student, doctoral student of Roger Revelle. Roger Revelle told him, we are increasing atmospheric CO2 because of all this fossil fuel burning. You should start measuring it. So Charles Keeling, David Keeling was a very smart guy. He actually invented an instrument to do it accurately compared to the previous measurements. And he went and found a site in Mauna Loa, Hawaii, far from all the people, and started measuring CO2. And voila, in 10 years, he saw that it was increasing because of human activities, and also it was going up and down every year because when the sun comes up, spring photosynthesis happens and all the CO2 is taken down by the vegetation, and when fall comes and leaves start falling, a lot of CO2 is released. So you have this up and down sawtooth like pattern and you see clear increase, and he was the first one to say, hey, we are increasing carbon dioxide, and of course we have been increasing since. Fun fact.